When I was an employee sitting on the other side of the table watching how the selection panel approved senior and leadership hiring decisions, I realized something that completely changed how I think about the job search. You see, the roles that were filled by, let's say, August already had their shortlist being built back in May. The jobs weren't posted in May, but a list of potential candidates started forming back then, even if very informally or even earlier. So if you've been waiting for the right role to appear on the LinkedIn job board, I'm sorry to say, but you've been reading the menu after the kitchen is already serving dessert. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things: why the timing matters more than your resume, where the roles you actually want are really hiding, and the right strategy that gets you found before a job is even posted. So stay with me, because the piece in the middle, the timing, is the one that surprises almost everyone. So let's start with what you're probably doing right now. You're refreshing the job boards, you've tweaked your resume more times than you can count, and when you find great jobs advertised, you're sending strong applications. And you're hearing almost nothing back. And I want to take the blame off your shoulders, because this is really not about you. And it's not your resume, and it's not your worth. It's probably timing. By the time a senior role is advertised, the shortlist is very often built months earlier, quietly through a search firm or even in-house. But this is the thing. You are just job searching in the wrong season. From start to finish, executive searches commonly run from 4 to 9 months. This means that an executive role that gets appointed in the 3rd quarter of the year was usually already in motion in the 1st quarter or even earlier than that. And the job ad is likely to appear around the mid-mark of that process. I see this all the time because I'm a career coach, and this is what I do. I help experienced professionals like you find great jobs. Brilliant, capable people pouring themselves into job applications for an employer that has already half made up their minds. And July itself is a bit of a trap. For many countries and businesses, it's the end of the financial year. In the north, we have the summer holidays. In the south, we have the winter break. And all of these things slow down the job market for you. In contrast, we usually see a boom happening in August and September. These are months when we see job openings jump for about 35% as new budgets are set and people return from their holidays. But then applications also jump with them, about 32%. So it's one of those most crowded months of the year, and for senior professionals, you have the added challenge of those roles having a warm list of candidates already shortlisted long before you ever hit apply. But here's my promise to you, because I'm not going to leave you sitting in that frustration today. There is a way senior people get found that barely depends on the season at all, and it's far more in your control than it feels to you right now. So if the problem isn't you and it isn't your resume, the real question is the one almost nobody answers. If the roles aren't on the job boards, where are they? If you are an experienced professional, you have heard of the hidden job market. And it is true that for very senior roles, such as directors, country managers, VPs, and C-suite roles, a large share of the best roles are never advertised. Did you see the role advertised for the Apple CEO? No. Executive search firms estimate that around 80% of that very top C-suite level isn't advertised. Assuming you are a senior executive, the job boards aren't a big part of your problem. Your next role will most likely be in the other 80%. And these roles are managed by headhunters, executive search firms, in-house succession planning, board referrals, and direct outreach. And here's the part that senior executives have probably not heard about when they start job hunting. Even when the roles are advertised, the search for the roles, every role, senior or not, starts way before you see the job ad on LinkedIn or Indeed or any other job board. And I'll be honest with you, because I sat on the other side of the table. I watched employers build a warm list of candidates even before advertising the role. Not only did I get some of these roles myself, but as an employer, I also used this practice to speed up the hiring process and find good people who were a good fit for my culture, the expertise I needed, or projects that I needed doing. I went to my contacts, trusted people in the industry, and asked for referrals. But here's what surprised me the most. Inside that hidden market, some people get the call and others, just as good, never do. And it has almost nothing to do with who's most qualified. So how does a headhunter actually decide who they're going to call? They keep a working list of senior people in their heads long before any particular role lands on their desk. And I'm going to tell you today what puts you on that list. But before I do, I need you to understand one more thing, which is this. The ones who get the call are visible to that small world. They've got a clear, current sense of the problem that they solve and a few real relationships inside the search community. The ones who don't get the call, very often they're extremely well qualified. They were just invisible to the people building the list. And one more thing, the thing that decides whether any of this works for you, that is timing. So let me show you the calendar nobody hands out to you. Here's the executive year in 4 moves, so you can place yourself in it right now. Let's start with the end of the year. The last quarter of the year, that's relationship season. We're talking about the silly season, November, December, when we are all busy with work and life gets really chaotic. We don't see a lot of big executive appointments during that time. On the contrary, we see a lot of restructures and bad news hiding in the chaos of Christmas. As a career coach, it is in fact my busiest time of the year, with retirements, resignations, and layoffs. Then we have the first quarter, especially February and March. This is the time when approved roles finally surface, as well as the vacancies from the turnover that happened at the end of the year. The second quarter can also be a bit chaotic. We have spring break in the north, school breaks in Australia and the south, and also Easter, Passover, and sometimes Ramadan. So use this time to reconnect and build more relationships. It's also the quarter when the headhunters are getting briefed on what's coming next. The third quarter is split between nothing much happening in July and a lot of action happening in August and September. And the data backs that rhythm. In one recent Manpower Group survey, 47% of employers said that they planned to add headcount on the first quarter, the strongest hiring intent of any quarter. That's the budget cycle showing up, and it's not a coincidence. The quarter that you are in right now decides where your energy should go today. So if you're watching this in the middle of the year, you are in build and be known season. So don't just sit in your home office refreshing your resume. This is the season to be having conversations. And here's what it costs you to get this wrong. If you're doing January work in October and October work in January, that's how a whole year slips by with nothing for you to show for it. So now you know the seasons and you know when to act, how to act, and why. Which means you're finally ready for the move I promised you, the one that actually gets you on that list. The executives who got the call, here's what they actually did. I teach my clients to run their job search the way a good salesperson runs a territory. Intentional, targeted, and the opposite of scattergun. And it really comes down to doing 3 things. The first is you creating a focused list of 10 to 20 organizations where your specific expertise really matters. The second thing is to have at least 1, but hopefully 2 or more real relationships within each of those organizations. And the third is to have 1 clear sentence about the problem that you solve, the senior executive problem that you are in charge of. That's the opposite of applying for 200 roles. A narrow job search, yes, A slower job search? Yes, but also a much more effective job search, and in my experience, very successful. I'm known for conversions, from getting my clients into jobs, and this is exactly why. And one more thing, this strategy is not a soft strategy, relationship building strategy. For many of you, this will be hard to do and take you out of your comfort zone, at least in the beginning. But hear me out. One analysis of 4.5 million job applications found that referred candidates are about 7 times more likely to get hired than someone who comes cold from a job application on a job board. And my experience coaching clients just like you is that this is especially important for senior and experienced professionals. Let me give you a real example. I had a client, a senior executive, who was made redundant after being almost 18 years in the company. He didn't apply everywhere. He took a few weeks to regroup himself first. Then he reconnected and rebuilt a small number of real relationships. Within 3 months, he had 3 interviews, 2 of them from referrals and 1 from a cold application. He landed a better role with more flexibility and more energy than he had in years. And here's the anchor for all of it. If someone already trusts you to do the job and can advocate and champion you on your behalf, they are reducing the risk to the employer, and that is a very big deal. And here's one thing I'd recommend that you do this week. You don't need to do the whole system yet. You just need to start that list. Write down 10 to 20 organizations where your specific expertise would matter most. Not the most prestigious organizations, the ones where you are a great fit and you know that there is a department or a function and they may need someone like you at the realm. And the strategy I would recommend you leave behind is focusing solely on job boards as your source of information about opportunities. Job boards are public lists. They are often out of date and only a small slice of the roles that are relevant to you. When they reach the open market, the cards may have already been set. And across the wider market, job boards attract most applications, but only a fraction of the actual hires. The irony is that referrals, even for mid-management and expert roles, are a tiny slice of the applicants, but a big slice of who actually gets the job. According to my sources, and these are recruiters that I interview regularly on the Job Hunting podcast, they probably represent 70 to 80% of successful candidates. Look, you're not late. You were just handed the wrong map for your job search. And this one is the right one for you. Now, once you got that list of 10 to 20 organizations, there's a specific way to start a real conversation inside those companies without you feeling like you're begging for a job. And that's what I will walk you through next. So go and watch the next video coming out next week before you do anything else, and I'll see you there. Bye for now.